New Jersey health officials say they're monitoring 2 residents who might have been exposed to the hantavirus outbreak that's killed 3 people on board a cruise ship. And those people were not even on that ship. 5 other states are monitoring passengers who've already returned from that same cruise. CB Cotton, live in New York City with more on this. CB.
Hey, John. So the hantavirus hit cruise ship MV Hondius is preparing to dock in Spain's Canary Islands tomorrow, and U.S. officials will be waiting there to evacuate the 17 Americans who are still on board. There are still more than 100 people on that ship, but thankfully none of the remaining Americans have shown symptoms, according to the University of Nebraska Medical Center, which will have its national quarantine unit on standby to monitor the Americans. A new report from ABC News says that the CDC will not mandate quarantine for the American passengers. So that's new as of this hour. You know, prior to the virus's detection, the ship's operator says more than 24 passengers from around the world, including the U.S., had already got off the boat and started traveling home. And because of that, as you mentioned, John, health officials in at least 6 states now are tracking people who were on board or may have been exposed during international flights. So far, state health departments have said no one is showing symptoms. Hantavirus is most often spread through contact with contaminated rodent droppings, and this outbreak involves the Andes strain, a version that is capable of spreading between people, but not easily, according to medical experts.
But it's important to understand that you've probably never heard of this virus before because it is rare. It has been in existence for several decades, but we don't see it often because it does not usually spread from person to person. Again, it's carried by rodents.
So investigators in Argentina believe a Dutch couple may have contracted the virus during a bird watching trip before ever stepping on board the MV Hondius. The World Health Organization says at least 3 people have died in connection with the cruise ship outbreak. John.
All right, CB Cotton reporting live. CB, thank you. For more on the hantavirus itself and the outbreak at sea, let's bring in Dr. Mark Siegel, Fox News senior medical analyst. There are a lot of people who think this is COVID all over again. Doctor, how do you answer that?
It's not. It's simply not, because this virus is confined almost entirely to rodents. Now, the Andes strain is not the predominant strain in the world. It's not the one that's affecting Europe and Asia, where 10 to 100,000 people a year get it. We don't have only a few cases in the United States, 15 to 50, and it's almost never the Andes strain. The Andes strain is right where you think it is, in the tip of South America. And that strain is the only one that really transmits human to human, and that maybe 1 out of 100 times with an exposure. So I want the people out there to know, even if you see the CDC being really cautious here of people who have been in contact with passengers, that's what they're supposed to do. You isolate and you monitor, because the amount of time, the inoculation period from when you get exposed to when you get it can be up to 6 weeks with this strain. So you watch and you're careful. And John, 5 minutes ago, I talked to the World Health Organization, who told me it is just the 8 cases. There have been no additional cases, even though the ship left on April 1st and people first started getting sick on April 6th. We're not seeing spread. We're being ultra cautious. This is so far different than COVID, which ignited and blew around the world and spread when you were asymptomatic, which is not the case here either.
Yeah. Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, the National Institutes of Health director, echoes that same thinking. He says this is not going to be a worldwide plague. Listen.
I mean, normally, if you go home and you have like even some space between your neighbors and you're not going to spread this. It's close quarters. I think this cruise was going around for about a month and a half. It's one of those expedition cruises. It wasn't like a carnival cruise or something. The 2 people that got on, they were in their 80s. They were bird watching. That got the virus in Argentina. Unfortunately, they died. But they had a roommate or someone who shared a bathroom with them who then got it because of close contact.
But doctor, I want to put up a full screen of the symptoms, because this could confuse people. If the symptoms are fatigue, fever, and muscle aches, you might have those symptoms and think, oh, I've got the flu or something. How do you know the difference?
I think that's what happened with that flight attendant. I think anyone that comes in contact with people are going to think that. And the way you know the difference is the fever is quite high. It's up to about 104, 105.
Oh, wow.
And then there is a pulmonary manifestation in about 40% of the cases here, and that's what is essentially life-threatening, and that's what killed the 3 people who died. I also want to point out something. I have been at the National Quarantine Center in Nebraska, and even if the CDC is making that voluntary, I would advise all 17 people from that ship that are Americans to go there. It is a terrific place. It's very user-friendly, very friendly, and it's not all that confining, but it's very careful and scientific. I endorse it wholeheartedly, the National Quarantine Center in Nebraska.
I think the last time hantavirus got this much attention was a little over a year ago when Gene Hackman's wife, Betsy Arakawa, was found to have died from it. She actually died about a week before he did. And it was the same disease, right, doctor?
But it wasn't we don't think it was the Andes strain. But, you know, that points out something that will reassure people. Everybody knows that that place where Gene Hackman and his wife were living had fallen into disrepair. He was in terrible shape medically before they started to, you know, have the place overrun with rodents. This is a rodent disease, whether it's rats or deer mice that are spreading it. That's why that happened to them. You know, you have to have very, very close contact with a rodent with droppings or with urine or saliva from the rodent. What's really confusing people here is, yes, on this ship, it spread human to human. But think about what a ship is like. The close quarters, the shared bathrooms. A lot of times we call a ship a petri dish. I'm sorry to the cruise lines to say that. But we see all kinds of viruses spread on ships. So the fact that it spread like this doesn't mean the virus has changed at all, John. And again, Dutch scientists have been looking at this virus under the electron microscope and testing it. It does not appear to have changed. It's the same virus that's been around for decades.
All right, Dr. Mark Siegel, a bit of reassuring medical information there. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.